This is a retro-style modern platformer with a focus on fast-paced action and movement. So I think that should give bingo to at least one person in the audience. Are we ready with the timer?
I think we are. Yeah, just count down when you're ready.
All right, so 3, 2, 1, go. So we're playing pirate mode, and what that means is that we're starting with all of the movement items that you're supposed to be picking up throughout the game. It makes the run a bit faster. It also makes it a lot more fast-paced. There we go. Alright, and we're off. So first thing first, we've got some delightful RNG to start the runoff. In general, we want to get 20 gems and at least one pike ball. Other than that, the intro stage is not too exciting. So here we use the pike ball that we started out with, and it lets us trivialize this screen just a little bit. Also, we don't like talking to people, so we're just going to jump over these guys. Here's our last chance for those drops. Alright, no such luck. RNG's not in our favor today, but that's fine.
Ammo Baron!
Alright, so this boss, anything but one of those red cannonballs is a complete waste of time. The difference between the absolute best and the absolute worst possible RNGs is about 1.5 minutes. And we're done. So now it's time for some story. I'm going to go ahead and explain it for everybody while I skip it. So Shantae, the person that we're playing, is a genie, except recently she lost all of her genie powers because of a curse placed on her by a pirate named Risky. So, because of this, and for other reasons involving chocolate, the mayor of the town decided to sell the town to the Ammo Baron, who we just attacked, and as such, we now have to go to court and we're no longer the guardian of the town. Oh, also, Risky's back in town and she's placed a booby-trap bathtub in our house. So, that's the thing that happens. So, normally, Risky is the big bad, but through a lot of text that we're going to skip, we're going to find out that Risky is no longer the big bad, at least for this game. There's a bigger, badder pirate out that we need to stop. Position ourselves to move as little as possible. There we go. Oh, what's even better than that is that it's not that she doesn't remember the bear trap. The reason that she realizes something is wrong is because she doesn't own a bathtub. So we're going to pick up a library card, because we have to go to court, so we may as well go read some books. So the game forces us to save. We're not allowed to leave town without it. That said, I'm probably going to be doing a couple of safety saves along the way because I've been having some kind of weird crashes. This isn't the jokey speedrunner saying that this game crashes and then makes it look like the game crashes. This is, since a couple of Windows updates ago, I've been having weird crashes, and I want to get to finish this run for everyone. So every so often, I'm probably going to safety save. Also, the developers added a bunch of secrets that if you're a casual player, you were, I guess, just never supposed to find. So that was Bolo. He's our friend. He's having problems with zombies. That was the Squid Baron, who's having problems with feeling like he's not a boss of a video game anymore. So we're going to skip most of this dungeon. We're also going to abuse the physics in this game to fool the game into giving us more than one item drop per kill that we get. Also, it's a big piece of speed tech right there. You're going to see it happen a lot. We can use consumable items to skip animations of picking up, or rather, the animation of picking up items.
You mind if I say a quick donation?
Oh, please, yeah.
We have $20 from Leggy Starscreen again, who says, "Shoutouts to Rezi, who clearly needed a nap after all his hard work. Donation goes to Runner's Choice."
Let me think. What do we have that's not met? Whatever the next donation incentive that isn't met is, that's what I want money to go to.
And it looks like that will be the blindfolded final boss in Kirby Nightmare Dreamland.
Oh, that sounds amazing. Yeah. That's money well spent. Shoutouts to Starscreen. Okay, so if we had picked up the pike ball, we'd be using it right here, and we'd use it to get 10 more 10 more gems on the next screen, but instead we're just going to skip these two ogres. Well, there's that pike ball we wanted. Okay, Monster Milk's pretty good. So we're gonna give the library card back, which gives us 100 money for free. Okay, so one of the biggest pieces of speed tech that was found in this game by Ezco, another runner of it, is a thing that we call the Risky Shuffle. About halfway through the game, you get these boots that let you dash that you've been seeing me use all over the place. Turns out that if you hold one direction on the analog stick and the other direction on the D-pad, you can use it to make... Oh, hey, another Monster Milk. That's really good. Anyway, you're able to make it so that you don't have to run in just one direction to charge up your dash. It ends up letting us skip a bunch of stuff in this game and speed up the rest of it to boot. Alright, so these girls are really, really sad that they came here for a nice vacation and somebody turned off the water to the pool. So, right now our quest is to help them out with that. That was good. So that's rare, but it can happen more than once. So another thing that Ezco found, 3 pauses right there skips about half of this cutscene. And the water's turned back on. We're heroes. Alright, so the other big MacGuffin in this island was we were trying to help this guy figure out how to unpetrify his wife. And we found the petrify spell so that he can reverse it. So, I mean, that sucks, but it did let us into the dungeon. I'm sure they're fine. Ignore the chunks of statue. I'm sure they're fine. So this is a secret dungeon. We're going to use it to get 2 keys. And those keys are going to come in handy about halfway through the run. So, nothing really worth mentioning at this point. We're just gonna go through the dungeon, collect a key, and get to the boss. So now would be a great time for donations if we have any. And if we don't have any, now would be a really great time for everybody who's watching to donate.
Reminder that all donations are going towards charity water.
Alright, here's our second boss. And that's phase 1.
I did it! Let's go. Ah!
Alright, so this is Roddy Tops. She may or may not have been bitten by a spider. We don't know. Presently, Shantae certainly thinks that she's been bitten by a spider. And even though she's a zombie, I guess we're gonna make her not have to walk. So this is a great place for runs to die. Everything here is a one-hit kill. In a couple of screens, we're gonna have one bit that's actual RNG as far as whether or not it kills you. So now's a great time for everybody to guess how many times I'm gonna die in this segment.
So what would you consider to be the most challenging part about running this game?
Whew, gosh. There's a couple of spots that are particularly challenging. This is definitely, like I said, one of the spots that runs tend to die. In the next island, there's going to be another spot that is a pretty common run killer for all of the runners, where we have to play through a stealth mission. But other than that, the run tends to be pretty good in terms of just keeping the difficulty pretty linear throughout.
Oh, okay, that's pretty cool.
This is one of those games that is pretty easy casually, and once you start trying to go fast, pushes back a proportional amount to how fast you're trying to go, which is, I think, a pretty rewarding thing to have in a speed game. Okay, so Rezi just pointed out the music. So all of this music is done by Jake Kaufman, aka Bert. Oh, that was unlucky. So when that snake goes to the highest point, there are 4 possible heights that these snakes can go to. No matter what, you just die. So that was a bummer. That lost us a good 10 seconds. There are definitely worse places to die in this. So this jump is harder than it looks. Oh yeah, that's a good point. Music by Vert is probably also on a speedrunning bingo card somewhere.
Just in time.
Alright, so what we just skipped there is that she was fine all along. But it was really fun to make you carry her.
Ow!
Yeah, one death Roddy's not too bad. That spot where we died wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible.
Hey!
So here once again, since we've got the movement power-ups, that we're supposed to get much, much later in the game, we're going to go ahead and skip quite a bit of platforming and just gameplay, really. We're going to skip gameplay.
How much time does it save?
Oh gosh, a lot. Easily, this dungeon, if you went the intended route, tends to take 10-15 minutes longer.
Wow, that's a big difference.
So there's our first, please don't crash on me game saves.
Power up, Super Pike Ball!
Alright. Yeah, 40 minutes sounds about right for the no out of bounds pirate versus normal mode.
Tinkerbats.
Okay, Rezi.
Did it. Flare activated.
Shoutouts to Rezi. This is an awesome marathon, and this is a huge undertaking for sure. So while we might joke, I feel like we need to give just a little bit of respect to all the hard work that's gone into this. That said, Resident Sleeper.
Can we get some resident sleepers in the chat for Rezi?
Rep to go.
Okay, so here we're hoping for some monster milk drops.
Take that. Take that.
The game isn't very nice sometimes. Alright, so earlier we gave a travel brochure to the Squid Baron, who's really sad because this is nowhere near the tropical paradise that the travel brochure made it out to be. He was hoping for women in bikinis. He didn't quite get that, so he gave us his X-ray specs. I'm sure it's fun. So now it's time for us to go and find 3 sarcophagi. There we go. And those are going to be how we find out how to get into a pyramid that we would like to go into. Shantae has some history with mummies. She doesn't like them very much, so she's not willing to open the sarcophagi. We're only going to peek inside. Luckily, we have X-ray specs. Oh yeah, also it turns out that they're cursed. Here's our last shot for those monster notes. Fair enough. Alright, and the secret code to get into the temple is fish, gator, bird. Alright, we'd really like to see some super bite balls here.
You mind if I read a donation?
By all means.
We have another $5 from Leggy Starscream. He says $5 per death to Roddy Tops comes out to here. Best of luck on the rest of the run. Alright, so here's the next part of the run that tends to kill runs. So it turns out that we look a lot like the princess, and the princess keeps running away. So we've been dressed up like the princess and put in jail so that we don't run away, and we're gonna run away. So there's a couple of cycle skips that I'm gonna go for, not this one because it's a 2-frame window to get that one. But there's a couple that I'm going to go for. Once each. I'm good at failing them. There's one. Yes, indeed, this is Metal Gear Shantae. There's another one. There's another one. And the last one I'm not going to go for. We've been lucky so far, so I'm not going to push it.
So it turns out that all of the other cast members look like the princess as well, I guess.
Sky.
But luckily we picked up 2 extra keys early on in the run, so we get to just free them without spending an extra 5 minutes going and collecting keys.
Gravitas.
Oh hey, the princess is home. I guess we're free to go. They give us a golden pickaxe as an apology. So we're killing these scorpion girls because we really want them. Nice. Super monster milks and super pike balls, and they tend to drop them. So what you just saw there was a thing called Momentumless Boots. It saves no time in that state, or that room. But if I manage to pull it off in the next island, it saves a pretty substantial amount of time. Alright, so that was phase 1 of Squid Baron. But we've got Squid Baron 2.0 now, and he has armor. And that's really hard to defeat. Okay, we're good. Hey, if you're gonna have a 2.0 of something, you better have sparklers. Alright, and he's not depressed anymore. He feels like he's the boss of a video game again. So that's good.
Flare activated.
Okay, so next is Mudbog Island, but we're not going to go there just yet. We have a MacGuffin that we need to identify as a MacGuffin. So how are we doing on items? Okay, we're doing almost okay. Alright, so we're gonna go talk to Bolo, who up until recently worked in our uncle's lab. But he feels like an idiot, so we're gonna give him X-ray specs. It turns out they don't help his vision, but hey, he feels smart now. Smart enough to identify that the weird fossil that we picked up is a death mask. So we're gonna wear that mask in just a moment. We're gonna talk to Death.
Let's go.
Alright, so casually this is probably one of the hardest areas for people playing this game. Turns out it's pretty easy though once you're speedrunning it. We did not get momentumless boots the time it mattered. Gotta watch for those things. Nope, that wasn't Resi. That was not Resi, that was me. Okay, so we wore the death mask. We're back. We're back and we're good.
Everything should be fine now.
Yes, everything is fine, there's no problem. Anyway, so we're now in the Village of Lost Souls. It's called something else in most religions, but, you know, it's fine. Village of Lost Souls. And we're going to collect these coins. And now is a great time for donations again, because we're just going to run around and collect some stuff.
Alright, I think we have a few. Let me pull up the donation page again. One second. Alright, here we go. We have $20 from Resi, who says $1 for every minute we lost from the idiot sleeping.
Hey, sleep's really important. You know what? Can I get a shout out to the concept of getting a full night's sleep? Alright, so we've got the 3 coins that we're supposed to be finding. Gonna crawl our way back, but we're gonna talk to the 3 gamers and we're gonna play an ancient game called Heads or Tails. It's a really cool speed game. Alright, we're good. So we're gonna give that locket to this girl that looks like nobody that we've ever talked to before. So all of this was because we wanted to go into the dungeon. But we smell too good, so they're not letting us in. But if we talk to this weird shadowy guy next to a flame, we can get him to sweat and we can steal his musk. Alright, so this is the obelette of suffering, which is a fantastic word that more video games should use, really. And we're going to use a risky shuffle right here and skip at least 80% of the dungeon. And thanks to that scare, let's go ahead and take another please don't crash on me save.
Monster Milk. Super Pipe.
So how often does the game potentially crash?
I've had it happen 3 times ever, but it's 3 times since the last Windows update that I did.
Oh, okay.
So it's a new problem, and that makes it really, really scary.
Oh, that sucks.
So this is Dagron. The way that you kill Dagron is you knock Dagron down, and then you hit him. Like that.
Tinkerbacks.
Okay, so we got a lost soul. It's weird. But apparently the lost soul doesn't quite belong in the Valley of Lost Souls.
Pirate Flare activated.
Alright, so we're about to have another section of nothing but fast platforming, so if we have any more donations, now would be a great time.
We do not have any new donations, but
Let's go.
Chat,
be sure
get
to
on
check
it!
out. Yeah, get on it, guys. And if you want to learn more about donations, click the donate button in the bio. All proceeds are going towards Charity Water, and there's some pretty cool incentives coming up. Let's see here, what we got. We have the blindfolded Kirby, or final boss in Kirby Nightmare in Dreamland. We're about halfway there, 50 out of $100. So be sure to donate for that if you want to see it. And we also have bid wars for Hug, Ignore the Go, and Undertale, US and JB soundtrack and Sonic CD, Save and Kill the Animal, Super Metroid, and Hero and Dark missions in Shadow the Hedgehog. So if any of that stuff interests you, be sure to donate for that, and your comment will be read on stream. Yeah, we're close to the 1K, guys. We're so close.
Oh, that's awesome. So, we're gonna hit 1K, like, right now, because chat is very generous, right?
Absolutely.
That's what I understand the case to be.
Alright, we have another donation to read. We have $54 from Blue Cheetah, who says, donating to make $1,000, and that marks $1,000 total in Speedrun to change the world. Thank you, guys. It's a
that
huge
is so
milestone.
awesome.
The big 1K.
thank you to everybody who's donated. That is super awesome of all of you.
Hi, Rezi.
Okay, so we skipped a lot of story there. So Bolo disappeared. It turns out that he got a job with the Ammo Baron of all people. He was building a targeting module. Because it also turns out, we're about to find out, after we go to visit our good friend, the zombies. But we're about to find out that the Ammo Baron has made a couple of changes, cosmetic changes mostly, but also functional ones, to our hometown. And it turns out that he's got a giant cannon pointed at the palace. So we're going to help him to use that. Also important to note, we got the key from Bolo really early on for the palace, because he was hired to install a lock on the door, which he managed to do backwards, and upside down, and also inside out. So, in general, Shantae's not too worried about giving the targeting module to the Ammo Baron. So before we do that, there's just a couple of loose ends for us to wrap up. One of those is that we picked up a sword in the desert earlier. And we need to give that back to its rightful owner.
So one question, what are the differences between the console releases and the PC release of this game for speedrunning?
Okay, so there are basically two versions that you get to use for speedrunning. But first we need to give proper attention to this character, Branson. It's the most important character in the game. Anyway, so there are two versions that got released that ended up being the fastest due to load times, and those are the PC version on Steam, which is what I'm running, and the PS4 version. Everything else just has really monstrous load times. The Wii U version is not too terrible, but you lose over 2.5 minutes just to loads, which is pretty rough. Alright, now the moment of truth. Let's fire at the palace. We were close. The guest, as far as I'm aware, there's nothing that cuts load times out. We don't have any conversion. At this point, just everybody runs on PS4 or PC. There we go. So we had a little bit of extra money after all was said and done. Which is pretty nice because we got to purchase a attack power-up that increases our attack speed. We are almost done. We've got 2 dungeons left, both of which we're going to mostly skip.
You mind if I read another donation?
Oh, I would love for you to do so.
Alright, we got $5 from none other than the guest who says, I got nothing witty here. $5 a USCD soundtrack because it's bad, and someone else needs to donate to get JP soundtrack back on top. Thank you, guests, for your $5.
Power up! Super Pike Ball!
So this is the last bit of just horrendous RNG in the game. We have to hit these buttons on top of this enemy, the Steel Maggot, and it's totally random what order they have to be in.
Tinker Bass. Pirate Flare.
Alright, so we are missing one item that we really need to finish the boss, which is a little bit of a bummer. I thought that it dropped earlier. No big deal. It's going to cost us half a minute, maybe a full minute. We just need to grab 30 gems so that we can go and purchase one. Alright, so this saves no time, but it's important. Doing one last risky shuffle there. Alright, so this is the big bad pirate. We were trying to defeat him, and in fact we were killing all of his agents of evil. And it turns out that that didn't help. Oops. So we're gonna grab some cash real quick. So, fun fact, what we were looking for to begin with was a bubble shield. Which we just picked up.
We just lost Resi.
We just lost Resi.
Yeah, that means, I'll make sure, can they still hear your audio? Yeah, okay, we still have audio, never mind.
Okay, we still have audio.
Sorry, I just had to make sure.
Hey, no worries. Are we good?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, then I'm gonna continue running and we're gonna go fight the boss. Alright, we have everything that we need, which means I'm gonna pick up one more attack power-up. For funsies, since we went there anyway. Alright, so, this Pirate Master, not a great guy. Also, he took over the palace. Not very hospitable. So the normal way that you're supposed to go through this palace is those doors to the left and right. They're These challenge rooms are not super hard, but they are very slow. So you have about 4 frames total of leeway to get these skips. And that saves us about 5 minutes of gameplay. Alright, so it's time for the final boss. The strategy here is to hit him a lot. You're going to see me jumping. It's something that I haven't been able to do before just because he stands in one place for us, which is great. So the jump interrupts your attack animation and lets you attack just a tiny bit quicker. So since we have an auto potion and time, sorry about that, time was coming up much quicker than I thought. But yeah, since we had an auto potion, we got to just mash through and not worry about losing all of our health.
That was about a 56:35, I believe.
Okay, 56:35, not too bad. That's 2.5 minutes off of my PB, which, given the RNG that we had, and since I went and had to regrind money, really good.
Yeah, good job, Tina. That was fun to watch.
Thank you. So
anyways,
I think, yeah, next
next
time
we've
I'm giving
got
it up to
Tina
me
and
and Roguelink, right?
Yep.
Yeah, coming up next we got Gargoyle's Quest, so be sure to stick around for that. We're gonna go into a quick setup.
Yep. We'll be right back.
Alright,